Hey everyone, today we're going to be draining this flooded road. The park rangers actually told me about this one, saying they've been wondering where I've been on this, because I haven't actually been on this road in a couple of months. And as I was traveling, I was like, what are they talking about? 90% through the road, haven't seen anything. Then we come across this and I'm like, oh. You see this hump in the road? It caused a bit of confusion with me, because they have it marked. I looked around here, poked around down in there. Can't find the culvert. If there is one, it's probably plastic and it's long crushed. I wish they'd stop using plastic, because when the water table's high, it freezes in the winter down sometimes 5 or 6 feet into the soil. As the water expands, it crushes the pipe. Metal can deflect it in most cases. I can't find a culvert here. That's all dirty water flowing in as people are driving through this. And because there's a big ditch right here dug in there, that might just be for the drainage ditch to get off into the woods. There might be a pipe buried here, but I really don't think so. I don't know what that ribbon's all about. But as I was walking, I noticed a couple chewed beaver trees. Just a couple. And as soon as I saw that, I was, yep, this is beavers. And as I walk down here, you see lots and lots of beaver debris. These are willow trees, their favorite food source. They chew the bark off and eat it. That is their food. And when they're done, they use the stick to build their lodge or dams. I don't know where the lodge is, but the lodge could be in this drainage ditch. This is a pretty big drainage ditch. And we found the beaver's pantry. In the wintertime, a beaver doesn't leave the pond. They don't hibernate either. They come out of the lodge, swim under the ice, grab something from their pantry. It's just a pile of sticks that's deep underwater, so when it freezes, they can still get to it. This is the blockage. Correctly surveyed, and it comes out over here. Right there. Good spot to put a camera. I don't see any obstruction that'll cause this area to flood as we release this. And their beaver swamp continues down this ditch. And there's a wide open area where they might live. Nope. Oh my gosh. I just noticed it. This ditch is their whole beaver pond. And they're gonna be angry, because this is the dam. The lodge is just really well camouflaged. There's their pantry. The lodge is right there. Can you see that back there? I'm sure you can make out at least part of it. That is brand new. I can tell everything they're doing here is probably in the rain the last couple weeks, because we have been in a severe drought all summer. And they just put this up really quick because they're building stuff really quick, because they missed out their whole building season pretty much. And I see someone surveyed the blue ribbons all the way in there. And I even see pink further down there, marking that that's a little stream. I think they're going to log this soon. That's what those markings deep in there are. But we start unclogging that. In small ponds, beavers can be territorial. So we need to be careful with what we do here. All right, we're trying to find a good way down to the pipe. And see this right here? This is the last plastic pipe that got crushed by heavy trucks and frost heaving. They just dump it out here. Metal pipes can rust away into the environment, no problem. But I hate to see when they do that with plastic. They just drag it into the woods and leave it there. So this whole area could potentially flood, but there won't be current. And it looks like there's a good drop off into the woods, so not too concerned about it. Look at all these willow trees. The beavers should have tried building it downstream, then it wouldn't have affected the road. But I think we got a good enough angle right here. Hopefully it doesn't flood too much, because I'm not going to set the tripod up high. I'm going to put it down low like this, and maybe I'll check on it every now and then. All right, everyone. Camera number 2 is now going. And we got the rake. I already got the big high boots on. It's so dense in here, the trees. All right, this type of grass, you don't want to brush against it. It's like razor blades. Or kind of like if you ever walk through a cornfield, it'll cut you up good. So I'm going to be a little bit cautious here compared to some of our locations, just because the beavers are like 20 feet away from me sleeping. They're going to wake up very quickly. I just got to figure out where the pipe is. Am I on the pipe or is it in here? Okay, the pipe goes out further. Still there. Still there. Okay, the end of the pipe is out here. This is just, I don't know why the beavers did so much. And I don't want to be in the water either. Not on this one. Okay, I didn't go deep enough yet. Wow, their pond's not even that deep. This isn't gonna hold up for them in the winter, even if they did stay here. You see, I'd get it done 10 times faster if I was standing out there. But I don't want to stand out there. Beavers do get territorial when you're this close to their home. Oh, this is so heavy. It's like wet concrete. This is just drawdown purposes. They'll have it blocked up in an hour after I leave. They gotta be relocated. Pipe check again. Oh, I wish I could stand out here. This is a bad one. I need that angle away from the pipe. And you're gonna probably be like, aren't the beavers just gonna reuse everything you're throwing in? Yes, they will. All right, this is getting a little annoying now. Where's the pipe? All right, I'm digging in the wrong spot. It was way out there after all, like I originally said. There's the end of it. Oh, we're in it. Oh, we got flow. This pond's gonna drain fast. It's not very big. Okay, these beavers, they're not coming out. I know they're right there. Sometimes they'll come out, slap their tail on the water. They're mad at you. Not today, I guess. Got the rake stuck. All that water pressure. Look at all their pantry supplies coming over. They're gonna clog this thing so easy when I leave, but I'm not leaving until it's empty. That'll give the road days before it starts crossing again. The water's not coming in as fast as it's leaving. Oh, come on. All right, now everything I was tossing out here earlier, I just sent through. Now they can't reuse it. But they have an unlimited supply of material here. Okay. That's 100% open, but the debris floating over keeps basically instantly clogging it. Now let's go check out the other side, and we're gonna wait around until this completely drains, and I wanna see if angry beavers show up. Look at the size of that whirlpool. Wow. That's one of the biggest ones we've had in, I think, a couple years. A lot of suction. Look at all the debris just getting sucked in and sent right in. Look at all this debris coming right over. That's why I want to wait around. Any debris that gets stuck here, I'm going to get rid of it. We're not leaving until this is drained for the purpose of the road. And I'm sure it's already been called in since I was told about this. I don't think I have to call it in to the trapper. Not this time. Let's go look at the other side. Wow. Here's what it looked like up here before. And here's what it looks like now. It looks like coffee because of everything I just stirred up. That'll clear up fast because everything coming in is very, very clean. Okay, it did flood a little bit here by camera number 2. Not much. Now, here is what camera number 2's angle looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. Amazing improvement. Look at all that water going off into the woods. I cannot believe the beavers aren't angry. It must be a young beaver. I don't know though. It's not a very big lodge. But I know in the past, I've had dozens of beavers come out angry and slap their tail, and they'll just sit out there from a distance watching me. I've only had one actually be aggressive, and that's because I was out trying to locate its lodge after we drained the pond. And as soon as I found it, angry beaver comes out and chases me. Because if we identify where the lodge is, then the park rangers can easily do their trapping. But their dam, pantry, and beaver lodge are very close to each other. It's very unusual. Okay, we're doing good there. Here's what the blockage looked like before. And here's what the blockage looks like now. That is one epic whirlpool. It's even better than before. Look how it's like eating itself. That's so cool. All right, I'm gonna pack up everything. Get the big high boots off. No, actually I should leave the big high boots on. Maybe there's another one right down the road. Oh. The angry beaver's coming. You see the ripples in the water coming from the lodge area? Let's step back from the water. Let's pretend we're in Florida. Don't get close to the water. Something very angry could jump out. It just got down into the water. It left the lodge. I'm gonna go to my truck, put everything away, and when I come back, that beaver's probably gonna be here already, starting to move stuff over. I can't believe the beaver didn't come out with all that ruckus I was making. Okay, the water crossing the road has now officially stopped. You see those are just puddles. Nothing is trickling across. And it's a bright sunny day. Hopefully that completely evaporates. But they're gonna have to bring in a dump truck of gravel to fill that hole in before the winter. If we look over here, the drainage ditch leading to the beavers. See that? There's noticeable current. Everything's moving. There was a puddle here into the road, slowly receding back. All this water is going to recede back. Because this is bad. If a log truck moves over here, it's going to sink in here and get stuck. And this is even a huge, going to be a huge headache if this isn't taken care of quickly. Come spring thaw, the reason this is so much worse, like I said, the ground here can freeze 6 feet down. When it starts thawing, now you have 4 feet of thawed ground with ice underneath it, meaning none of this can drain. You're going to have 4 feet of mud here. Mud season is horrible up north. You could be driving on a dry road. The sun has dried it. Suddenly you just sink into a mud pit underground. That's what elevated water tables and active groundwater will cause. And this afternoon, I'm going to be putting up half a dozen trail cameras in northern Maine, scattered through the wilderness. We'll pick them up in the spring, get some good footage of moose and who knows what else. Wow, that is going good. But I'm wondering when the beaver is going to show itself, because I definitely saw it plunge into the water. I'll stick around for a good half hour, see what happens here. I was just making videos today of the fall foliage. The fall foliage that's left over right now is aspen only. That is not birch. Some people think it's birch, but it's not. Birch is what you see next to it with no leaves. They both have white bark, but up close you would see the difference. And I'm noticing in here, this is an aspen tree. It's a very soft wood. See the beaver cutting it down? They got almost through it. They're letting the wind do the rest. But while we're waiting for this to drain, I want to take a walk down here and see if the beavers have anything else going on, because there's like an open area right here. Nope, there's no water in the ditch at this point. There's a road here, no culvert. The water either goes this way or down that way, no culvert. But there is an open area right here with a lot of trees. I can tell at some point the beavers had that flooded, but it was years ago. After years of doing this stuff, I've learned how to look for evidence of flooding. It was pouring this week, a lot of rain, really fast. See the potholes? The grass over there's a little pushed over. The water was passing over the road here, and where you saw at the beginning of the video it was crossing over. That amount of water that was crossing over this road, by the evidence, I don't even think it would have fit through the culvert if it was open. I think that culvert's even slightly undersized. But I don't think it's crushed. I think it's in good shape because it's drawing in a lot of water. I don't see any issues. That's got to be water undertow doing that, right? Beaver didn't push that there while I was gone. You never know, it could have. But that's why we're staying out here watching it go down, because that undertow is dragging over junk that we're going to have to clear out of there before we head out. I like how on the exiting end, all the agitation of the water is creating all these suds. If it kept doing this all day, those suds would become foam, like giant pieces of foam floating around. I love that, especially on a cold morning. It'll freeze, and it's like touching cotton candy. So that's organic material, rotting leaves, natural oils, and feces mixed together creates those suds. See, there's even more suds in the middle of the whirlpool. Over the years, I've seen beavers do some crazy things. For example, eventually they would cut down every tree here lining the road to build a dam right here, making their water deeper so the water level would be higher than the road. And even in the middle of the road, roads that aren't really traveled often, they will build a dam on the crown of the road too. Pretty interesting. This is actually taking a little longer than I thought to drain. Maybe I should come up with some kind of beaver scarecrow. You know, scare beaver. Something that just makes them not come near this, because if you walk away for 5 minutes, the beaver will come over here to try to plug this. Oftentimes it's flowing too hard for them to plug it, but an experienced beaver will take some sticks, put them up against there crosswise, then smear debris over it as if it's a grate. They're essentially building a grate so they can clog it. That's why grates are good and bad. Beaver can clog a grate very quickly, but the grate prevents them from building the dam possibly in the middle of the road inside the pipe where you can't get to it. Plastic's kind of slippery, but if it's a metal pipe, they'll often do that in the middle of it. So this is starting to go down a little more. And I do think this is an inexperienced beaver based on how it was built. A bigger beaver, an older beaver would have used a lot more sticks. This was mostly mud, only a couple of sticks. And look at the lodge. It's a lot of mud and very little twigs. It's a young, inexperienced beaver. And it looks like this entire swamp was probably put together last week during the rain. Must be a young beaver that just got out of the parents' lodge. Hopefully they can get him relocated somewhere nice. The park rangers will relocate the beaver. Some people question if that's true or not. If the park ranger can't get to it in time, then yes, the logging company will sometimes go out and hunt it off, especially if the road is soft and their trucks are getting stuck in it. They can't wait. Every truck they can't get through is lost profit. We actually got it flowing better. I got some debris that was floating over out of the way. I don't like standing in the water like this, but this beaver is not showing aggression, so we're in here. Did you know only one person in recorded history has ever been killed by a beaver? And that's because the beaver was able to bite the guy in a blood vessel in the leg, a very important blood vessel. And other than that, beaver attacks outright are very rare. But yeah, just what I'm doing now, breaking up the mud, a little bit of the beaver foundation. It's helping it flow straight into the pipe. A lot better so, actually. Wow, the dam goes all the way out here. But it's all mud. Just kicking it like that, it's agitating it enough where the current just sucks it on through. Okay, what's that? Okay, something just moved into the entrance. Okay, kicked it, it went through. The undertow is strong, you gotta be careful. This pipe, I think it's an 18, maybe a 24-inch pipe. It could suck you through if you lost your balance. That's why I'm holding on, just in case. Okay. Doing good. We've got it flowing even better now, because now the current's not coming in from the top, it's coming from straight out. And I have to keep doing it because more and more debris keeps floating over. Oh, wow. Yeah, that really picked up. Look, it's trying to turn on both sides now. A clean whirlpool and a dirty whirlpool. It's pretty awesome. Let's see if we actually increased it more than before with this straight in angle now. Yeah, I would say so. It's flooding over there now more. Yeah, we definitely got that to flow a bit better. So as the water drops further, the current is getting faster, because just like a bowl, the lower you get, the less surface area there is. So it's going to appear like it's draining faster as time goes on. And you know, their pantry is actually acting like a filter. All of this debris is getting stuck against it. Here's another perspective. The perspective from the beaver lodge. Look at this, still bleeding, recently cut. This is a very small beaver lodge. It's only literally up to my knees from the ground. I'm sure the beaver probably excavated it out, the bottom part of it. I'm just trying to see how many entrances it has. They usually have at least 2. I know there's one right there. I think that might be another. But I also wanted to see back here. This is the stream supplying it. Based on what's coming into the pond, I'd say the road has 3 or 4 days before it floods again. And you see how back here, the water's crystal clear. It's basically filtering through this moss. It's the same thing I did in one of my frog ponds. I have the pump going through a whole bunch of moss I placed in this upper compartment, and it filters it. This is so nice, this marshy area. See, the loggers marked it with blue tape going all the way through here. I guess as a marshy area to stay away from. So this is such a small trickle, it's probably not an official stream. There's probably not even a blue line on the map. That means in the colder months or during a drought, they can log this. But named bodies of water, even a little stream, if it's named, depending where you are, they cannot log within 75 feet or in some cases over 200 feet. If it's like a lake, that's to prevent erosion. But this is actually so beautiful in here. Being a scare beaver is kind of boring, and we're just passing the time on a beautiful walk in a cedar forest. This is cedar here, but it's interesting to me. See, they did a thinning job here, only cut down certain things. I'd say 2 years ago, based on how many raspberry bushes grew back. I'm not walking back the way I came. I'm going to walk to that little road and back out that way. I'm sure this clearing meets up with that road right up here. See, berry bushes grow back in these clearings. Bears love it. Deer, moose love it. So having all these open areas caused by logging actually increases populations of creatures like deer. This is further than it looked. That road is all the way up in there. But I'm gonna power through it. I said I would. I like this thinning job. They cut the bigger trees, left the smaller ones to grow more. Because the areas they just do the big clear cuts isn't usually any good either. Because when they replanted, the trees are so close together, animals can't even walk in there. There's no biodiversity, no food. But this area, thinning has gone well. Some areas they'll thin too much, and whatever trees they leave standing are so skinny, they were relying on the other trees to just stand up, and the other trees were shading the ground. Suddenly that sun dries out all the roots and they die. But we just got through the most extreme drought, and this looks still super healthy. I like to see that. Well, here's the road. It's not much of a road, actually. There's also blue ribbons here. I want to check that out. That's the next culvert pipe that I showed a moment back. Something killed a bird and ate it. Those blue ribbons are right there. Actually, come to think of it, the beavers were causing a problem here like 5 years ago. I vaguely remember it now. And if I remember it correctly, it's going to be a fairly rusty metal pipe. Yep, this was all a pond. You see it grew back. It's like 5 years of growth. Those grow back fast. Yep, exactly how I remembered. There's 2 of them actually. Fairly rusty, but they're older. That metal's very thick. Takes forever to rust through. And I've walked quite a bit. My truck is a dot on the horizon. We got to get back and be a good scare beaver. They're probably taking advantage of me walking away. It's been a half an hour. And the pipe is showing now. That could have just floated over here. Or it could have been the beaver. A little bit of debris. Not really much blocking it. This water level's still gonna drop about another foot. Look at the bathtub rings that weren't there before. We've drained back probably about half of what it's gonna do. Now, this is something I talked about years ago and people didn't believe me. You see that mud coming up from the surface? I posted a video a while back, if you want to look it up, titled Unclogging a Culvert, Then Suddenly Gas Eruption. Underwater, a huge bubble comes up like bloop, 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 dirties the water all around me. I quickly get out of the water. I'm like, oh my gosh, is that a beaver coming up? No. So, water pressure is holding gas bubbles under. Let me explain. People were arguing, saying, the more water there is, the gas is just going to come up. It can't withstand the pressure. Now, no. The mud is acting as a seal. The water pressure against the mud is holding gas pockets. And as the water level reduces, it's taking pressure off of the mud, allowing the gas to escape. That's why when you drain a beaver pond, lots of stinky gases are being released that have been trapped in the swamp from things rotting. So that's why you see random smears of mud occurring. You saw earlier that I had cleared a path in front of this. Well, it's reoccurred because the flow is just kind of building another dam. Suppose the beaver could have done it when I was gone for 10 minutes, but I don't think so. See this? It helps it drain faster. If you keep messing with everything that's floating over, it's actually a lot of fun. But I know my limits. If the blockage is too big, I'll mark it for the excavator. I love sending mud through. I'm walking on the beaver dam. I can't believe that beaver didn't come out angry. It basically evacuated. So the bottom of the pipe is clear. Yep. That'll help it drain faster when I'm doing here. Water level's too low now for a whirlpool. Going good. See, when it's wide open, it doesn't look as turbulent, but it's handling more water now. Okay, other side. These ones that are made with more mud than sticks are so fun. Yep, still going good, but slowing down. We're running out of water. Huge improvements. There was puddles in the road before. Now the ditch is over a foot below the road. Here's what it looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. Great improvements. Beautiful day. Perfect working weather today. It's about 45 degrees or 7 Celsius. It's really nice. So see, we got to drain all this water all the way down here. And I'm bored, so we're going to go for another walk, see what that hump down there is. I'm just trying to hang out because I want to see this thing completely drain. See that? A foot off the road. It was crossing here earlier. These puddles will eventually sink into the ground and dry up in the sun, but it's got to be fixed. Look at this. This actually is a great example of how they build the roads. They use this big stuff on the bottom, and they put smaller stuff to make the road smooth. But in an event like this, that stuff gets left behind, so the road doesn't wash out. This road was built well. Some of the roads, oh, they even took a shovel to get it off the road. Or maybe the blade of the grader, the way it's all uniformly pushed over, I think is more likely. So, does this road? Yes, it has a culvert. And you see the water line? It was backed up through this culvert. That's why it's taking so long. All this water down here also has to drain. So those are my tire marks. Yes, there's the grader turning around. Yep, this was slightly flooded. Not much, but slightly. Drained all that back. And because of the hill we're on, I don't think there'd be a culvert up at the top of the hill, so I'm not even gonna look. Now this is an overgrown road. I'm back to the spot with the orange ribbon. I'm trying to give this surveyor the benefit of the doubt now that the water's lower. There is absolutely no culvert pipe here. Just because there's a hump in the road does not mean there's always a pipe. Exploring the drained beaver swamp is also showing me there's another little stream, unnamed, feeding it. And there's lots of beaver debris there. They've been hanging out eating those sticks. So, with that amount of water coming in, I still think it's going to take at least a few days for them to flood the road again with no help from rain. There's no more rain in the forecast for at least a week. Something else that's kind of cool while we're walking here in the ditch, I can show you. Beavers do this. They excavate and they take rocks to use in their dam. They'll also excavate canals into the woods so they can float wood back once they're experienced. Beavers always build back stronger. Because I did that, even if they literally saw me unclogging it, the beaver doesn't understand what I'm doing. It knows the dam's falling apart, but it thinks it didn't build it strong enough. So next time, it's gonna use more sticks. We have fought certain beaver families for years, and they build it back worse and worse every single time to eventually where it's just large sticks and rocks. The mud is just a sealer at that point. This beaver used literal mud to stop the blockage. Very little reinforcement. That's why we got it open so good. So I've learned over the years when I'm surveying trees, this isn't my ribbon, but see how it's on a willow tree? If there's nothing but willow trees, you always put a couple of markers because this is the beaver's favorite tree. They're very likely to cut that tree down. Now, if there's a random evergreen tied around that, they will not cut down evergreens unless it is last resort. They don't taste good. They don't like building with them. If it's all they have, they'll cut them down, but usually they'll target this first, willow, then they'll target birch and maples and aspens. They like those. They don't like evergreen. They specifically don't like cedar. I've seen them build with it, but it's rare because they don't have anything else to build with. Eventually, in some situations, it's taken them years to get relocated, and we'll be out here every week doing it to the point where there's literally no willow trees left. They've used them all, and they do not reuse wood. If I throw it back in the pond, they'll smear it back, but if I manually move everything up top, they do not reuse it. That's why we try to send as much of the junk downstream as possible. They won't reuse it. Yeah, this has really slowed down back to a normal riverbed. It's no longer flooding. I think we're gonna head on out of here. The action's over. This will still probably drop about a foot, but it's gonna be slow paced now because once the water coming in is matching it leaving, the action's just about done. I don't know where the beaver went, but I'm assuming it's waiting for me to leave, or maybe it'll wait until nighttime. Wow, the engine almost completely cooled down. We were here like an hour. Okay, back on track. Let's have fun. Speed it up. Kawoom! All right, everyone, I hope this video was interesting. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. The rain has really turned some of these roads to garbage. There's so many holes on this road. All right, everyone, camera number 2 is now going. Camera number 2 is now going.